Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Geri O'Toole. I run the studio Geri Designs. This is Loretta. She is our lead designer in the studio. I brought her in especially today because today we're going to cover the topic all about window dressings. Loretta has so much experience with window dressings, so I felt like she would be the perfect person to answer lots of your questions. So let's get into it. On Instagram, we asked you to share some pictures of your windows. We got this picture and it's of two windows. And Loretta, what do you think would be a nice way of dressing these windows?
Okay, because there's two windows side by side here, I think I would go with two Roman blinds, and I would take them the width of the sill, so outside the recess, and take them from the ceiling. Because that way you kind of get the benefit of seeing the fabric, and also you maximize on the light coming into the room.
Okay, love that. And if you have windows like this in your living space, one thing that I think is by having those Roman blinds that are outside the recess and up towards the ceiling mounted, it makes the windows look bigger, it makes the ceiling look higher. It's kind of an illusion in a way.
It is,
which I think works well in a space like this.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
The other option is you could do a curtain, but I think if I was choosing for myself personally, I would probably go outside recess Roman blinds.
So would I.
Yeah. So now we wanted to give a couple of fabric options for this space, based basically off of fabrics we'd use for our own clients a lot. And one thing I love is a plain fabric but elevated with some sort of a trim. And we picked this lovely Chase Irwin fabric, so that would be lovely on a Roman blind.
Yeah.
Also, one of my favorites for trims are Schumacher trims, and this one is beautiful. It has the blue in it, but it's quite wide. So Loretta, you were saying that you felt it might be too large if it was going down either side.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But possibly if we used it just in the center body of the Roman blind, or we could use it just on the base of the Roman blind.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's nice the way it just gives the Roman blind a lift, but without going crazy on pattern either.
Yeah.
So it feels nice and timeless, which is good.
Yeah.
And then we also picked out, if you wanted to have a little bit more colour. What did you think this one, Loretta?
Yeah, this is beautiful too. Lovely texture, yeah. It's a beautiful texture, not too much pattern, so it would be very easy to live with, yeah.
So that's that one.
Yeah.
So best of luck dressing those windows, and thanks for your question. Here is another great question because it's actually in someone's ensuite. So you can see the picture here. It's not a huge space, but obviously in any sort of a wet area, you have to consider the moisture content of the space. I feel like this catches people and they don't know how to treat the window. So Loretta, what do you think would be suitable in a space like this?
I think in a bathroom, the Faux Wood Shutters are a great option. You have the flexibility, being able to open and close the louvers so you can get your light. So whether it's a case of, if it's privacy, which is probably what the main purpose of putting something on a window in a bathroom. So I think the Faux Wood Shutter is probably the best option. You can do fabrics, Roman blinds, but probably the lifespan would be 2-3 years tops before it would start becoming, the mildew would start building up on it from the moisture.
And I suppose mostly when clients come to us, they're looking for a long-term solution. So I guess the long-term solution really would be to use something like a shutter in the space.
Yeah.
And obviously you can have them painted any colour as well, so you could tie it in with your space.
Absolutely, with the colour scheme. Yeah.
Or even contrast it for a nice kind of lift, because I like how those shutters look and how they dress the windows. If you want classic, you probably go for a white and off-white. In this space, it's a nice kind of white marble effect tile. So maybe the white is probably good in this instance.
Yes, white, yeah, or black if they wanted the real contrast from the vein of the tile.
Very good. Hi Geri, I'd love your advice on our west-facing sitting room window. There's also a public path 3 feet from the window. You've kind of got a grey-brown colour scheme as well. This is a great question because Actually, we've lots of clients who would need privacy. So what do you think about how to dress these windows?
Okay, in this instance, I would say if we do a double dress, so we'd have 2 tracks, ceiling mounted, and the inside track would house a sheer, an unlined light fabric that would allow the light to come through but still give them privacy. And then on the second track, the full fabric curtains for the evening and to elevate the whole feel of the room.
It gives it kind of that hotel luxury feel, doesn't it?
It does.
Which a lot of people love, and especially if you're trying to elevate your whole living room space. Often I kind of think of window dressings as like accessories on an outfit. A room can sometimes feel unfinished unless it has
Absolutely.
the window dressings.
For sure,
Yeah, so actually we pulled some of these fabrics. So do you want to talk a little bit about how the voile would work?
So the voile, again, we'll make it the very same as the curtains. We would do either a double pleat or a wave pleat, but this is nice and translucent that the light will still come through and it'll still keep the room feeling nice and bright.
Beautiful. So daytime, that's perfect because you have your privacy then.
Yeah.
But it still lets all of that light in, which is perfect.
Absolutely.
And then we were thinking of a lovely fabric like this one. It works really well with the voile.
Yeah.
And you've got a little bit of a lift of pattern, and this kind of pulls in your colour scheme. So something like that would work beautifully. And if you want to know which fabric we've chosen, it's a Harlequin fabric. Narracomi oatmeal. So
They do have strange names.
they do, exactly. So that's that one.
Yeah. Lovely.
Okay, this question. Can you discuss voiles for 4-meter sliders and static windows, Geri, and also how to deal with a 2-meter tilt and turn inwards window? Okay, so what did you think of this space? It's beautiful, big space, obviously has all of that light coming in, but how do we dress it?
Okay, again, so particularly with these bigger windows, it works so much better if you can do the extra wide fabric, the 3-meter wide fabric. That way you avoid having any seams in the sheer curtain when it's made. So again, keep their track underneath the coving, and then I would stack one to the left and one to the right. So when they actually do close, they meet in the corner, and when they're open, they clear the windows, and then you have the full benefit of all that beautiful glass.
That's a great one. I like the way they'll meet when they close, but also it's always lovely if you can and you have the wall space to try and pull those voiles and have them clearing the windows so they stack on a wall. That's the ideal scenario. Sometimes it doesn't happen like that, but it looks great in both instances when they're opened and closed. The other thing is, it's something that a lot of clients get caught with is they actually never think about how to dress the windows until the house is built. Yeah. So if you're in a scenario where it's a new build or maybe you're adding an extension, do start thinking about what kind of windows you're having and have that discussion with your architect or your designer, if you're working with them, or even a local curtain maker, because they will think from the internal point of view of the window dressings. Sometimes we find scenarios where we might have a bedroom and the client wants blackout, but actually in their bedroom there might be apex glass, and those can be harder to dress. So it's good to get thinking a few steps ahead with how you're going to dress your windows if you are building.
For sure, yeah.
One of your questions was how to choose the right color or pattern for your window dressings. So we were discussing this actually, and what our opinion is on choosing the right color or pattern is curtains and Roman blinds can be a big investment. So I would err on the side of caution and maybe go more towards plains with the trim, because you'll get longevity from them. But you can absolutely choose pattern and colour as well, which can be really interesting in a space. What's your opinion on like colour and pattern in window
I think particularly if it's like a formal sitting room, a room that you're not using all the time, it's a nice opportunity maybe to have some pattern texture on the fabric in that room. In an everyday living room, maybe again I'd agree, keep it nice, plain, simple and elegant. timeless and nothing you can get tired of.
That's a good point. And actually, that is a great point about, having that room that's away from everything else. Often when clients come to us, they're a lot more adventurous in spaces that are out on their own, like a WC or a good living room. You could go bold with pattern there, but a lot of people have an open living scenario in their new architecture, kitchen, living, dining.
Yes.
So something light, neutral will probably stand the test of time a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure.
Another question of yours was how to really make the most of how you finish your tracks or have your window systems in place for a new build. Sometimes what we like to do, if it's an open plan space and there's a lot of glazing, but we will need to drop roller blinds to dampen out some of the direct sunlight, we actually conceal these in the ceiling or the window heading above. That's a lovely seamless look, and once you plan in for that at the start and let your builder or contractor know, that can be a lovely look. But also, what about ceiling tracks and how to conceal those?
So ceiling track can also be recessed into the actual ceiling, and there's an actual track then that sits right in there. It's very seamless. Or you create the pocket that the track goes up in behind the pocket, and then it is a lovely seamless look for sure. And then I suppose you always have the option of motorization as well if they're in difficult places to reach, and you can now do motorization pretty much anywhere. You don't have to run your cables. You can do a lot of rechargeable motors, and then they can also hook up with your home system if you have a smart home.
That's brilliant. And I love the idea of actually, again, going back to that point of with a little bit of planning, if it's a new build or an extension or a renovation, that you can actually have a lovely, seamless, well planned out designer look on your window dressings, and conceal those tracks and conceal the roller blind heading with a little bit of planning. As always, thanks again for tuning in to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Loretta, for joining me and giving us all of your brilliant expertise on window dressings. Please do comment below if you have any questions about window dressings. We will answer them. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe to see our upcoming videos. We have some home tours planned soon, so we'd love to share them with you. Okay, take care. Bye.
Bye.